Good afternoon, committee. Welcome to the Corrections and Juvenile Justice Committee meeting Thursday, February the 11th. We have a rather abbreviated agenda here today, and our first and only item of business will be a hearing on House Bill 2191. I'll go ahead and open the hearing on House Bill 2191 and call upon our reviser to provide us some information about this bill's contents. Ms. Scott, are you on?
I am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2191 increases the criminal penalties for riot and incitement to riot when the crime occurs in a correctional facility. The bill amends KSA 216201. That's the statute that provides both the crimes of riot and incitement to riot. Current law there makes riot a Class A person misdemeanor, and incitement to riot is a severity level 8 person felony. This bill would increase the penalty for both of those. It would increase the penalty for riot to a severity level 8 person felony if the riot occurs in a correctional facility, and it would increase the penalty for incitement to riot to a severity level 6 person felony if the incitement to riot occurs in a correctional facility. The bill also would define correctional facility as a jail or a correctional institution as defined in KSA 755202, which basically that statute just includes all the facilities that are under the control of the Department of Corrections. And I can take any questions.
Any questions for the reviser, Representative Carmichael?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Scott, would this have any bearing on incitement to riot inside the Capitol? No, never mind.
Representative Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Natalie, is there some place in the Kansas Code where rioting in a juvenile correctional facility is also a juvenile offense?
Mr. Chairman, we don't have separate juvenile offenses except for like the very select few offenses in our code that only apply as, like, we call them status offenses, like it's only a crime because you are a juvenile. So all of the offenses that we have in the code that we think of as the adult code would apply to juveniles. But let me look at that definition of the
correctional facility doesn't seem to include a juvenile correctional facility, only under the Department of Corrections.
So the juvenile facilities are under the purview of the Department of Corrections, but let me just look up this definition to see.
It may very well not include juvenile detention centers that are locally operated and not under the purview of the Secretary of Corrections.
I was inquiring about correctional facilities and not juvenile detention, but I believe I believe you to be correct, Mr. Chairman.
So the definition of correctional institution does have at the bottom, any other correctional institution established by the state under control of the secretary. So I'm not sure. We could certainly clarify that to include that we only have one juvenile correctional facility in the state. But no, I don't think as drafted it would apply to juvenile detention facilities that are under the control of the locals.
Thank you. Committee, other questions? Representative Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Little off topic, but Natalie, do we have a statute number for just rioting in general, say like rioting in the streets and whatnot? And if so, do you have that statute number available?
Mr. Chairman, this bill defines this bill amends the statute that is the crime of rioting. So it's KSA 216201. And you can see there that it's defined riot is 5 or more persons acting together without lawful authority, engaging in a use of force or violence, which produces a breach of the public peace or threat to use such force or violence against any person or property if accomplished by power or apparent power of immediate execution. So that is currently the crime of riot that we have.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Committee, other questions? Representative Wheeler, your hand's still up. Do you have another question, or is it just a hanging hand? Thank you. We will move on with proponent testimony, and we'll call upon Sheriff Jeffrey Easter, Legislative Chair of the Kansas Sheriff Association, Sheriff of Sedgwick County, Kansas. Sheriff Easter, welcome.
Thank you, sir, for allowing me to testify today, and the other committee members. I am Jeff Easter with the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office. I am the Kansas Sheriff Association Legislative Chair, and be very brief and in short. We do support this particular bill. We have had instances in the last year with some jails here in the state of Kansas where it has we've been able to de-escalate it, but the fact of the matter is we've had several inmates that have tried to incite others into borderline riot type issues. And I know that at the state facilities, they have had those issues. So we are strongly a proponent of this particular bill, and I'll stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. We're going to hold questions till everybody's testified then, if you got a couple minutes yet.
Yes, sir.
We'll call upon Greg Smith, the Special Deputy with Johnson County Sheriff's Department. Greg?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll be short and sweet as well. We support this bill for the reasons that Sheriff Easter stated. This is just another tool that would be handy to have in these types of situations, and we think that it reflects the sanction level that should be there for something like that. And I'll stand for questions.
Great, thank you very much. Next, Todd Thompson, Leavenworth County Attorney. Mr. Thompson, good afternoon. Welcome to committee.
Thank you, Chairman Jennings. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. It's good to see so many familiar faces. Yes, I am a proponent of this, as well as the Pawnee County Attorney. I believe he has written testimony, and he apologizes for not being able to testify today. He had court. Obviously, you're aware that a lot of the punishments that are current for people incarcerated within the correctional facility would be a felony, such as a battery or trafficking contraband or even escape. But something as significant as this, as the rioting, is seen as a misdemeanor. It doesn't make sense. There's been incidents of major riots, one within Leavenworth County that we're still pursuing, as well as others in El Dorado and Norton in 2017, 2018. The significant amount of cost, the time for the investigations, the difficulties in actually identifying the people who are privy to doing these acts, and just the overall financial burden on the state and on these facilities doesn't make sense compared to what the significant amount of punishment that there is which would be a misdemeanor. And we would ask that this would be raised to the level of significance, particularly for people who are inmates that should already be working on or trying to abide by the law. And with that, I'd stand for any questions.
Thank you very much. That is the extent of the proponent testimony that we have. I don't know that we received anything from Doug, but we'll check, and if we did, we'll certainly get it circulated to the committee. That would be the Pawnee County Attorney. Are there others wishing to testify in support of House Bill 2191? I see none. Are there any neutral testimony? I have none listed. Is anyone wishing to testify neutral on the bill? Opponent testimony? I see none listed. Questions for proponents, committee? Representative French.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe this goes to the reviser. When does a confrontation become a riot?
Mr. Chairman, if you look up in starting at line 8 in the bill, that's where riot is defined. So it's that 5 or more persons acting together without lawful authority engaging in that conduct that's listed there. So the prosecutor would have to prove that all of that happened to meet all the elements of riot.
So 5 is the magic number then.
5 or more. Yep.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Committee, additional questions for any of the proponents? I see none. We'll go ahead then and close the hearing on House Bill 2191. Committee should plan on seeing this bill next week to be considered by the committee. I have no other business scheduled for this afternoon. Does anyone else have any questions or anything for the benefit of the committee? I see nothing. Then we will stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.